Heidler is standing by for us in Bangkok. Scott, under the threat of arrest, people are still publicly showing their anger over the military rule.
Absolutely, Fauzia, and the mall behind me, in front of it, over the last maybe 3.5, 4 hours, there was quite a large group there, several hundred in number. And something very interesting happened. The last time we spoke, last hour, I said that this demonstration was different than what we saw during the anti-government movement over the last several months. This anti-coup movement, protest, kind of seemed to sprout out of nowhere. It's not as though they marched here and then kind of, stationed themselves outside the mall. But what happened after they gathered, after they had been gathering and growing in numbers for a couple of hours, they marched. They're now on the way to Victory Monument. Now, what was even more interesting is that the military, who first had a pretty strong presence and strong posture when the protesters first started, took a step back, literally, and then the police came up, and then the police took a step back and actually allowed them to leave this compound behind me, leave the turnabout in front of this mall behind me, and then take over one of the streets, one of the most busiest intersections here in Bangkok, and then march on down toward Victory Monument. And that's where they're headed right now. We know there are a small number of anti-coup protesters that they're going to meet up with there, but it'll be very interesting to see what kind of posture the military and the police take at Victory Monument. This is where we've seen this anti-coup movement really kind of start over the last couple of days. But again, we've not seen the numbers like we just saw leave here in just the last 30, 40 minutes. Fauzia.
And Scott, do we know the fate of those who've been arrested so far? We know that former Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra has been detained, along with several politicians, academics and journalists.
Yeah, no, it's expanded that list, and it's gone into what is being called an economic council, advisory group, if you will. And again, it's an interesting term for it because they were essentially told by the military that they needed to come, and those were executives of some businesses, particularly energy concerns here in Thailand. That's because I'm sure that the military junta, the government the military government that's controlling this nation, they want to make sure that there is no hoarding of any energy reserves. One thing that was very interesting, some of those people who were brought into this meeting, summoned to come and meet with the military, were those, yes, the big energy companies here, but also any company that had a certain amount of tanker trucks. In other words, agencies, companies that could actually stockpile fuel. So that's what we've heard over the last couple of hours. There's also been academics, there have been journalists, 18 executives of Thai newspapers were pulled in by the military to sit down and have a discussion as well, Fauzia.
All right. Scott, thank you for getting us up to date on the situation in Bangkok. Scott Heidler there.